Hello, hello, and welcome to another live stream. It is that time of the week again, which isn't a Sunday, which has now become the norm. Seems to be Monday nights, and that is partly due to the time of year, and I'll be honest, partly to do with Strictly Come Dancing, as that keeps on colliding with the time that I do this, really. So whilst I am a big fan of that programme, I do want to make sure that I'm managing to get at least one of these done a week if I can. So yeah, Monday nights has seemed to be the most common time that I'm managing to find to do it. So I have been working on it this weekend. I nearly did one on Sunday night actually, but I got stuck with a problem that I've mentioned in a community post on YouTube, that full of regret for having drawn a set of sliding doors that I knew I was going to have to animate and use at some point in the story. And yeah, I was kind of up against making that work. And I was going to do a live stream, and I thought, oh no, it's going to be a live stream where I'll basically be struggling through a load of pixel art and trying to work out how to do it. But I was kind of quite happy. It did get sorted out relatively quickly. It involved a bit of hand-drawn shadows and things that all became a bit of a pain. So I'll start by showing a little bit of that for those who are watching this live stream back. Just again, so you maybe don't make some of the decisions that I made when you come to draw a lovely scene and then realise you've just painted yourself into a corner and have given yourself a lot of extra work to do. So don't want that for anybody else. You might learn something from my mistakes, which this is a big part of the channel really. So I will share my screen. Let's have a look. So we're starting in A Sprite. If you've been following other live streams and watching tutorials, will have seen this scene a lot. It's where a lot of things take place, and although not much has gone on near these doors yet, I just haven't got to that bit in the story up until this point, where I arrive at needing to have these doors open for a couple of different reasons, and then that kind of struck me with a bit of like fear. I mentioned it on a live stream not so long ago that I was kind of thinking about having the delivery driver arrive outside, and that's kind of what I needed to do really. And I'd done a temporary version where the delivery driver was inside the door already, but it kind of didn't make sense logically, and I think that's something else that I maybe get hung up on, that I maybe shouldn't so much, which is trying to make it true to life rather than just making it easy. So my thought process was, the store isn't open yet and a delivery driver has arrived, and they wouldn't be able to just walk in the real world. So there should be a bit where Clive comes and opens this up. And I mean, I could have just not done that, I suppose, but I think it was nicer that it had that. So all of these other bits in the scene I've just toggled on there. There's this box of leaflets which the driver brings. I already had that set up in Unity with a walkable area, so you couldn't walk into it, and we had the delivery driver stood like here inside the shop. I don't know if I really went into that much on a live stream. It was just some work I'd done a week or so ago on it, and I wasn't happy that I'd kind of chickened out of doing it properly. So this Sunday I started doing it properly, I suppose, and that involved me having to animate this sliding door. And I'd originally thought I was going to have this left-hand side door slide right and kind of slide behind this one. These have got transparent or semi-transparent glass in them. There's all kinds of problems that I'd kind of made for myself. And then I kind of made the discovery that I thought, actually, if I just hide the leaflet box, it would be much easier if, like, you don't know as the player, there might actually be 3 doors here, and that might be the central one that's opening. We can kind of, we've got the, I suppose, the advantage of making this up as we go along. So rather than having this slide to the right, I thought I'll just have it slide to the left because that effectively goes off screen. It gives me a lot less stuff to have to draw. And it means that I can kind of just move this inside bit of the door that you can see, move it along a couple of pixels each time, and move this grey bit along a couple of pixels as well, to have it opening. So that's kind of what I ended up doing. I'll take you through my process because it was a bit of a pain. I ended up having to make lots of frames in here because currently at the moment there's only one frame. There's no animated bits in the background, and this Sunday had me adding a few different animated bits to it. So I've ended up with lots of frames in here. You'll see here this sliding door bit. This is the actual animation of the door sliding. Now you'll also notice some shadows because I'd drawn this nice like light casting into it. I'd just hand drawn it all in as pixel art. I'd put the light as a separate layer. You can see like there, you can toggle it on and off. And then I suddenly thought, oh God, if the door opens, then this shadow also needs to move. And that would have been even harder if it had gone inside the other one and the shadow had moved this way into the room. Loads of problems. The character would be stood there. It wouldn't look quite right. And all because I just drew this nice thing with the sun streaming in. And it was like, oh, why did I do all of that? But I kind of thought, right, I'm just going to knuckle down and do it because sometimes I think that's the only way to get it done. So I initially just started moving the door. So you can see I'm moving it a frame at a time. I then like flood filled this semi-transparent bit so that it still had the semi-transparent glass, and just have it sliding open and revealing the background. Obviously that checkered background's transparent. I'm going to end up having to draw an outside scene as well, so even more work. So I did the animation of it. I can probably press play and you can just see that sliding. So little door slides open, that's fine. But of course you'd expect to see the shadow like move across, and I didn't want to have to draw too much. So I kind of went back to the first frame and just thought, what can I get away with if I just add a little bit of thick shadow as it starts to move and then draw them across. So the shadow follows it, and I think it's convincing enough. It kind of looks like it opens and then it rests on the last frame. So it's kind of off screen. Or it's just on the edge of the screen anyway, so you don't get to see where that shadow resolves. And it wasn't too much of a pain, to be honest. It didn't take too long, but this is not just one colour. I ended up having to actually paint these colours, this red, the dark grey, because it's got a checkered floor as well. So you've got these checks where they're yellow and then dark grey and then light grey, and then I have to do the same for these. So I guess just bear it in mind. Tip going forward, when you do a nice bit of artwork, just really think ahead about how much extra work you're giving yourself. That would be my tip there. So anyway, cutting to the chase, I did that. I managed to export it. That was fun as well, trying to export it from Sprite. I ended up using a couple of options that I've just found when you do export a sprite sheet. You can see it's already doing it in the background here. I found an option up here to show all of the panels in one thing, so then I could put trim sprite and it'll trim just to the door and its shadow. You could select the exact layer that you're going to export rather than all the layers, and it let me like cough out one sprite sheet with the door and the shadow in it. So ultimately did all of that, exported it all, brought it into Unity, and then set up an Animator controller for it. So there's an Animator controller for the actual sprite artwork. If I just go down to my sprites, what's it called? Slide door there. So you can see there's the sprite sheet. It's 10 frames. You can see the shadows that are actually drawn in the right colours, and it resolving is just at the corner of the thing. So 10 frame animation, brought it in, created an Animator controller because I need to control the door with code. I need to be able to open it midway through a cutscene, and then I'm going to need to close it again at some other point. I haven't done the close bit yet. I've had to think about how to do it. But yeah, I'm going to just continue on with that bit tonight, because there's a little cutscene where Clive walks in, kind of buzzes him in effectively, and the door opens. The other bit of work that I've then got to do is obviously this driver. I haven't done any animation for him yet, other than his talk and his blink is like idle stuff. But now he's going to have to actually deliver this parcel. So I could do a bend for him to bend down and pick it up. I could just go old school, and when he says, "Here's this parcel," I could have the parcel appear. I might just do that for now, rather than doing the animation of him tonight. What I'm trying desperately to do is not get caught up on some of the, what I'd call polish, like the animation of him bending down. I'll come back to that another day. What I want to try and do is get all of the story beats of the whole story done, so that I can play it through, really, and then make decisions about the pacing, the story, the comedy, the characters that are in it, and make sure it feels complete. And then, if it's right, and the order and the pacing's all right for the story, then go back through and start changing little bits of animation, adding in things that make it feel like polished and complete. So I've got a cutscene, which is this cutscene delivery, where basically Clive comes in, there's been a buzz at the door, he walks in, basically the delivery driver, Justin, I think he's called, named by Kyle, I believe, or it might have been Chris, on one of the live streams. He's pressed the doorbell, Clive comes walking through and needs to buzz him in. So some of this, the timing's not great on it. I want to, he kind of says, "Morning, Clive," from the other side of the door. Clive walks to this marker. Clive then says, "I'll just buzz you in." We wait a couple of seconds because we're in a cutscene. We don't want the user to click, so we've got these set to play in background. So we just wait a couple of seconds. I need to drop in another one of them in there, actually, just to wait a second after he says that, I think, because Clive's walking towards him. Clive actually starts from this position here, and I'm going to have to move that back a little bit because I realised I didn't really give him enough time to get there. So I'm going to shift this back. So the scene's going to fade in. Clive will start from here. He's heading towards here. Justin says, "Morning, Clive." We're going to wait a second. Clive ends up at the buzzer. He says, "I'll just buzz you in." We're not waiting for a click, so we're just going to play that in the background. Wait 2 seconds. Play a custom animation where Clive reaches up as if to press a button, which we don't yet have there. I'm going to put a little button up there on the artwork, so he's like pressing like the button that they have in shops to let people in when it's not open. And then it's going to animate this sliding door. And the way I've got the sliding door set up is I've got an animator controller where the entry point just comes to automatically to an animation called closed door. And that animation is literally a 1-frame door. So slide closed. I'm actually just going to call that door closed. I'm going to call that door open because it confused me when I reloaded this afternoon, this evening, and was like, oh, I don't know why I've called it that. So door closed is literally a single frame animation of the door in its closed position. Door open is a single frame of the very last frame of the animation, where it's fully open off to the left, and sliding door is the animation of it actually sliding open. And I've got it set to 6 frames a second. The other part of this is why this was necessary, because I do begin to question whether it was worth it for this little cutscene, is the sliding door is part of a puzzle. When it opens, it kind of screeches and it kind of needs oiling. It's one of the like little mini puzzles in this act where you need to stop the door from screeching every time it opens. So the other thing I have to do is add some, I'll have a sound effect on it, but almost like speech, you know, like you get in retro point and clicks where it'll go like squee, feel like and appear as text. So I need to make a player character effectively for the door that has got speech dialogue that we can position in the right place. So I'm going to try and set all of that up tonight, hopefully in like an hour and a bit, and get happier with this cutscene that everything's kind of correct. So I will crack on. I'll click play and you'll see that play through. I'll maybe put this full screen. I've not actually looked at full screen myself. So this should play through that cutscene. Morning, Clive. I'll just buzz you in. Reaches up, presses the button, that opens, and he says, oh, that door needs sorting, that's awful. And then you're into clicking, you're right. Aye, not wrong. Anyway, morning, Clive, how are you doing? And then we're into the conversation. So it's all of that bit there. There's bits you need to click to continue the bits of text, but I don't, the first bits of text I just want to happen automatically. And hopefully you saw when that animation played, it looked convincing enough that it opened. I am going to have to put a background in. You can see this grey background. I think I just need to put like a car park or something out there. Don't know if I'll get that done today, but yeah, that is the plan. Let's finish this bit off. When you speak to him, talks about eating a dodgy kebab and all of that, and then he mentions, anyway, there's a new market material for head office. I think they sent an email about it, and that's when he kind of should be bending down and putting that parcel down. So let's just get that bit sorted out before I forget that that parcel shouldn't be there at the start. So what we want to do is go and find the flyers box. We've got a remember visibility. So visibility on start should be off, which it is, which is strange because I can see it right there. I've got affect children just in case. Oh, I think maybe, do you know, I think somewhere in this cutscene. So on start, all right, yes. So what we need to do, got there, the flyers box should be made invisible if it isn't already. It should be because it's set to be invisible from the start, but that one was switching it. So let's make a copy of that. Somewhere down in the conversation when he says, anyway, here's the new marketing material from head office. I think they sent an email about it. It's there that we want to drop in this reveal. So let's paste the action. So object visibility, make it visible. We're going to have to put an animation in there for Justin as well. So I'll set it up ready. Just do object animate. I'm going to use sprites Unity. The animator we're going to affect is Justin's. We don't yet have a clip for him to do like that. So what I'll do is just check what they're called. I'm just going to put something else in there for now and then make a note. So I'm not sure if talk's the right one. It won't play anyway if it's not correct. I'm just going to leave a little comment. Oops, that's just slightly off the screen. That you could put a comment in there. Justin needs a bend animation. So that Justin needs a bend animation. I might just make that red as well so that I don't forget that. And then we'll have to time that with the box arriving. So visibility, drop that into there. So let's just have a look. Just check that doesn't actually break it. I've also got a weird thing where Clive is static at the start. I'd like him walking really at the start, so I might start him off from further over here. Yeah, so I need to get the door talking, doing that squeal bit. And I've also set up a global variable to skip big bits of dialogue like this, so I can just set it. I've set it up once, and I just need to put in a little skip thing. I think they sent an email about it, and there it appears there. Okay, so that's good. Box appears. We're just going to need to do a little bit of a bend trim. You can also see, if you look carefully, his feet are covered by the floor here, so I just need to fix that pixel art as well. Otherwise it looks like there's a big bar in front of his feet, but you probably didn't even notice that. I'm just pointing out things I notice. So, two things I need to do. One, start Clive from further back, so he's kind of on his way there. Maybe there. We're going to start his walk a bit earlier. So we're going to disconnect it from there. We're going to, as it fades in, we're going to have his walk there. I might turn off wait till finish so that the fade happens as he's walking. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, so that's quite nice. Morning, Clive. I'll just buzz you in. That feels nicer. So what we need to do then is have this door squeal. So we're going to need to create an NPC. There's a couple of different ways of doing it. You could do it with narration. So there is a narrator's menu. So this narrator text, I've got a game view. So this narrator text that's just at the bottom, like almost like subtitles at the bottom of a film, you can use that throughout, and there's an action for just popping up any narration text, but I want to have it happen over there by the door, and I use this narration text in the introduction cutscene, which will be one of the only bits that's voiced over. There'll be a narrator bit on a couple of these bits, which will probably end up being my voice, possibly disguised by AI, but that will, I don't want to change the style of that. I don't want to move that and use that for it. So I think I'll create an NPC. Hello, Kyle. Good evening. I think I'll create an NPC to be the door, basically, because that's where I want it to happen. I want to be able to give it a different color. I want to be able to position it where I want, all those kind of things. So the door will become an NPC, but I don't want it to have any visible pixels or anything. So what I'm going to attempt to do is just create an empty game object and call it NPC door, so I know that it's an NPC. And then go to the little NPC wizard, and scene, NPC. So the base game object will be NPC door. I'll just call it NPC door, it's fine. Sprites Unity, we don't need a collider. We don't need any animator states. We're just doing it so that we get something that we can position as a speaker, someone that can actually speak. So a couple of things we definitely don't need. I can turn off the hotspot because we don't want to be able to hover over it. I could probably turn off the box collider and everything. We don't need the yellow cube showing. So I'm going to position that in the kind of place that I want it, so that when it sets, I'm not sure where it's going to go yet. It's like a big, I'm going to do like a squeal type thing. Oh, sorry about that, Kyle. What I try and do, because I've stuck a notification on the community posts, and I don't know if the notifications come through for community posts to say I was starting about 8:15. Just trying to get finished a little bit earlier tonight. So yeah, I'm not sure when I start streaming at about, it was about 8:10 or something like that. I assume that YouTube sends out a notification, but obviously not. Well, you'll have to catch up at the start. Right, yeah, it seems that way. But to bring you up to speed quickly, Kyle, as you're a regular, I made a mistake months ago, which was drawing this door with all of its lovely see-through glass and shadows and things like that, knowing that at some point I was going to have to animate this, and that point has been this weekend. I did it on Sunday rather than the live stream ultimately, but if you watch back, I've talked a bit at the start of this live stream about having to animate this and hand draw the shadows in all the different colours and have that sliding door animated, something that I'd been avoiding for a while, but I've now got it into Unity and I'm just setting up the cutscene where the delivery driver Justin, who I think you might have named, is outside the door. Clive walks in, presses a button which doesn't yet exist, I'm going to draw that in a second. Door slides open, conversation happens, delivery driver delivers parcel, Clive walks off, door shuts. That's the whole cutscene. So we're currently at this point. Most of this I'd done before the live stream, to be honest. I'm just continuing from where I got to. Clive walks in, he says, "Morning, Clive." He says, "I'll just buzz you in." He reaches up, presses a button, which we haven't done yet. Door slides open. Door's going to make a horrendous squealing noise, which is part of another puzzle. So that's just a recap on what I've spent the first 15 minutes talking about, really. But so you've not missed much, just been me rattling on. So it's going to squeal, it needs to speak effectively, the door needs to speak in order for that squeal to happen. So I'm going to set that up now, and I'm going to try something which I've never done before, which is have this character NPC door rotated so the squeal can come off diagonally, but I'll see how that works. It might not work at all. I've never tried it, so we're going to find out. So I've completed this NPC door. We're going to have the door's male now, his settings. We're going to give it a colour. I'm going to make it something that really stands out, so it's probably going to end up being like a luminous pink or something horrible, and something that really stands out as abrasive, but we'll see how it turns out. So we need to trigger that as the door opens, and I think we're going to have to slow down the animation of the door as well at some point. So he says, "I'll just buzz you in." I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. I'll just buzz you in, waits 2 seconds, reaches up, presses the button, sliding door plays here. So it's this bit where we're going to do the squeal. So in here we want a dialogue, play speech, a person in inverted commas who's speaking, his NPC door, and we're going to just do something like screech. Going to have that play in the background because it's during this slide open animation that it's happening, and then he says, "Oh, that door needs sorting." That's, I'm going to say, actually I'm going to say something else. Well, that sounds awful. Spell, no surprises there. That sounds awful. Door needs sorting. Yeah, I want the sound effect. I'll put a sound effect in. I'll put some awful sound effect to hammer that home, but I do want it to kind of appear as well, because I think, like, again, it's part of the style of these things, isn't it, that happens. So let's just see where it appears because I haven't set a height. In fact, I wonder if the box collider is important because I think the text might appear at the top of the box collider. So let's just bring that down. Can it see if the text appears here on the door as it opens? Let's just give it a go, see what we're dealing with, and then work out how we can move it. Morning, Clive. I'll just buzz you in. Buzz him in. Screech. Oh, that worked quite nice. Wow, that sounds awful. Your door needs sorting. You're right. Need some oil by the sounds of it. No, you're not wrong. Anyway, morning, Clive. How are you doing? Right, cool. So we're in. That looked all right. It didn't stay on screen for long, but I think that's fine. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. Once it's got a sound effect with it, I think that'll be fine. It's big enough that you see it. So I'm just going to see if rotating this NPC door, that is, will actually change the angle that that text appears at. I don't know if it will, to be honest. I just think it'll be even more apparent if it's at a funny angle that it's coming from the door. So I'll just buzz you in. No. Right, so wasn't sure it would. I wonder, let's just go back and take that transform off. Take that rotation off. I wonder. That's a good shout. I know there's another plugin that'll do it a letter at a time. I think it might be a word at a time, but yeah, let's have a look. So in speech, I don't know if you can do it per. Yeah, so it's this scroll narration text. That's how it's done. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it'd be good if it did that, but I think it has to be all of the text. I don't think it's per NPC. Let's have a look. Idle name, movement, NPC settings, physics, audio, speech menu. Transform which replace menu set to appear. If it is not set, the placement will set automatically. Speech menu transform. All right, I might be able to drop a transform in there actually and rotate it. I don't want to get hung up on getting this in exactly the right place, but I am intrigued. So let's just create an empty thing. Let's call it door speech transform. Door speech transform. Bring it over here. Let's rotate that and then set that here as speech menu placement, because that's what it means by menu. That's where the text, the transform at which to place menu set to appear above speaking character. So let's just try that out. Let's see if that works. If not, I'll forget about it because it looks fine. I just thought it'd be fun if it was at an angle. Just puts you in. No, so it just uses that point. Okay, let's forget about it. Delete that. Just check it hasn't got, it's got missing transform there. Let's put it to none. That's fine. I think you can duplicate the speech menu, make that scroll and set the subtitle to that specific NPC. All right. Okay. So in an NPC, can you choose which menu it uses to speak? Because I thought they all just used the same menu. So it would be in the NPC settings there. Motion control, talk animation, style. Add on separate layer. Speech audio source. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can select a specific, because I know, yeah, the general subtitles there. Yeah. Think of Red and Clement Big Gospel, yeah. The subtitles one is using so that's my subtitle menu. So you're right, you could duplicate that subtitle menu and have a different one that was potentially even see, I'm using the Adventure Creator subtitles because I prefer them for dealing with how these things work and how they align on screen. In a later version of Adventure Creator, in this version, like 1.8 or something, a lot of these are by default now are Unity UI prefabs, but I personally prefer the Adventure Creator ones for subtitles. So I think if I was using Unity UI prefab, I'd be able to then rotate that prefab. But I'm still not sure of how I would tell just this NPC to use that other subtitle menu. For speakers of type. All right, okay, let's have a look for speakers of type. Characters only. Ah, specific characters only. You are correct. 5 points to Kyle. So yeah, we could set that up, but my fear is it would have to be, if I wanted to rotate it, I mean, I could try it out, but I still don't think, because the speech menu to scroll narration text or scroll speech text, I don't think that is possible. Yeah, you are creeping the scope, you're quite right. So I could, if true, narration text, yeah, I'm going to ignore it for now. I'm going to leave it as it is, because if it was speech text, I think it still applies to all text of type speech. I still don't think there's a way to scroll individual characters stuff, because you can't set that scroll to a specific menu unless there's an option to scroll this one. I don't think there is, because ultimately no, it's just a menu for speech type all. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it as it was. I'll just crack on. So I've now forgotten. Oh yeah, no, so it was in the right place, wasn't it? Just check. I didn't want it in front of Justin's face. I wanted it at floor level. Right, okay. So that's all set up fine. What I want to do is get to the end of this cutscene. So go all the way at the bottom and zoom out. So there's a few different bits. What I had been doing, oops, I just kicked something under my desk. Move that out of the way. What I had been doing is, for the time being, at the end of this whole conversation, I've just been fading it out. Fade to black, Justin disappeared, and Clive got on with the next bit. And I could have left it like that, but I've ended up doing this whole door thing because I wanted the door puzzle to be right. So because there's obviously a lot of dialogue to go through there, so I can test this ending out without having to go through it all every time. Let me just separate out a few things here. So where it says Morning Clive, I'll just buzz you in. Play all of that. Play that thing. So just slotted into here. I've got a new global variable that I'm using in all of these big dialogues. So I'm just going to check that global variable. Variable check. It's called skip big dialogue. And it's set to true while I'm testing all of this. So if it's true, what I'm going to do is just jump all of this stuff. So if condition is true, true, condition is met, equal to true. Going to skip all of that. I'm going to just drop it in there. Set to false, then it just continues. So it's like a breakpoint basically. And then it comes down here. And this is kind of the end where we do the fade out. Because Tyler hasn't arrived yet, so Clive's saying like, what if he was here? He says, say hello to Tyler for me. I'm hoping he turns up soon. And then we're into what was the end of it, where it faded out. So we're going to come in here with this. I'm just going to put a little comment on there. What we're doing? Comment. Why can't I see comment? Toggle comment. Dialogue skip point. So this is going to be the goodbye bit. We're not going to do a fade out anymore. We're not going to hide Justin. I'm going to do some better stuff than that. We're going to have him walk off. So I'm probably going to end up animating him, but he might just shuffle off to the side for now. So let's just do that. Add new action, object, move to, where is it? Oh no, sorry, it's character, isn't it? Character, move to point. The character is Justin. The marker to reach, we need to create one. So marker 2D. Call it Justin leave point. So Justin leave point. He's going to walk, he's going to path find. So I'm just going to use this for testing out this end bit. You should just throw the parcel in here. Yeah, every driver just shot it over the side gate and deal with it yourself. So he's going to shift to there where the door's going to close itself. We're not going to have Clive go over and press the button again. So we're going to run an animation. So object, animate. It's sprites Unity. We're going to use the animator is the sliding door, and the clip we're going to play. We haven't actually created this clip yet, but it's going to be called slide closed, and we're going to play backwards one of the other ones. So we'll wait until it closes. It's going to do the big screech again as a reminder. So let's just go and copy that from up here. Copy. Paste. So do the screech again. And then Clive's going to say, really need to sort that door. Really need to sort that door. Sounds awful. Is that correct? And then we need to enable the flyers box because you need to be able to pick it up. We can get rid of that. I'm just checking which things, I'm just reading them here. NPC just invisible because we were making him invisible last time. That was a global variable, whether or not he's visible. Need that to play in background. Wait a couple of seconds to make sure Justin's out of sight. I then need to make him the variable to show him and to change that. I then need to send him to the off-screen position. So we want to do an object teleport. I want to teleport excuse me, NPC Justin. I'm going to teleport him to, I haven't set one up for this one, but this was coming back to your suggestion, Kyle, before, which was teleporting them off screen so that they stay there, and then remembering their position. So I know he's not going to turn back up on screen, but that global variable, actually that global variable is fine because he just won't be visible. So visible, get rid of that. Don't need that. We need the hotspot turning on for the box of flyers. This is basically a global variable called cutscene trigger. So it's cutscene trigger of the delivery cutscene. We can set that to false because now we don't want to trigger that cutscene. And this was what I was doing before, which was fading the scene out, which we don't, sorry, fading the scene back in because we just faded out and hid everything, which was lazy and a bit rubbish. So we can delete that. We'll turn off the let box and transition it away. And then I've just got that there ready in case I need to turn anything back on. So this is all the exit bit. The thing we need to hook up is that slide underscore closed. We need to create that. So in the Animator controller, got one called slide underscore closed, which was silly. Oh no, that's correct. Yeah, I'd set it up ready. I just haven't actually put in some animation clip. So this sliding door one, what I'm hoping is I can use that and play it backwards, because that makes sense to me, that you use exactly the same thing of where it slid that way. But if I set the speed to -1, I think it plays backwards. We will see. Because if it doesn't, that's rubbish. So slide underscore closed. Is that what I called it? Paste. Yeah, slide underscore closed. So it's going to run that one. And then it'll automatically transition down this path because it's like a mechanism set up. And then it'll sit at the closed door one where it's just a door that is closed. So that'll do us for now. And then the parcel's in place. We might need to change the walkable area slightly. You can see this gap I had in the walkable area here that was originally where the parcel was, so I might need to change that just so you can't walk into it rather than having him be able to walk all the way around it. Let's play it and see. I'm not sure if this sliding door is going to play backwards. If not, we'll just have to create a new one. Excuse me. I'll just put you in. Screech. Wow, that sounds awful. Your door needs sorting. Very sort of door. It sounds awful. Right, it did. It played backwards. Wonderful. I forgot to move his just in leave point, so he's obviously headed all the way off over there. I actually want him to head off this way, because then I might get away with not actually animate him if he just slides off a few pixels. So he's going to walk over there. Let's run that again. Check a couple of things. Morning, Clive. Just push you in. Need to make that button that he presses up there. Screech. Well, that sounds awful. Your door needs sorting. Screech. I need to sort the door. It sounds awful. Right, he didn't move that time. He put it off right the way over there before, and now I've moved it. Why didn't he move to it? Just in leave point. How strange. What went wrong the second time? Because the first time he walked off. Don't like how you zoom about on here. It's really I want it to zoom in on my mouse pointer. Why do I want it to zoom in over there somewhere? It's weird. The select one, does it? Yeah, it doesn't even zoom in on the one you got selected. Right, why didn't he walk? He's meant to walk. So just in leave point. Can you fade an NPC out? I have no idea, Carl. Possibly. I mean, you could do it in a bit of custom code, I suppose. You could write an action and just do like a tween to fade him out. Yeah. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't mind him just shifting off to the side, but for some reason he just didn't shift that time. Oh, got some weird graphical bugs going on there. Ooh. What's going on? Right, why didn't he go this time? I've set his marker over there. On Clive. Just push you in. Opens the door. Sounds awful. Close the door. Yeah, he hasn't moved. Why hasn't he moved? He did when this was elsewhere. When it was over here, he went to it. I'm now getting paranoid. I've moved it over there. See what happens. Why wouldn't he walk that way? Area. Oh, you can use object fade. All right. That's weird. He is going right, but not left. The thing is not in the walkable area. He is not in the walkable area, but he won't head to it if it's off screen. I don't understand. Why is that? Will he go a little bit? Will he go to there? I mean, this is a new one for me. For some reason, he won't move left, but if I put it to his right, he will move right. I maybe need to remove the pathfinding thing. I have no idea why, but yeah, so he moves to the right, but he won't move to the left. Let me just turn off pathfinding. So, slide. It shouldn't have anything to do with the way he's facing, because, I mean, he's facing down, because otherwise his torque wouldn't be working. I just think if I turn off pathfind, Let's just try that. Not sure what's going on here, to be honest. Because I assumed it's because he wasn't in the walkable area and it's trying to do like pathfinding to that thing, but... So he's moved up there. Why has he gone up there? Oh, did I not move the marker back? Put it over there. He shouldn't have any problem walking off screen. Excuse me. Right, he's going left without pathfind, so that'll do me. I'll move it down here. I think we'll get away without walk animation because it's so... There's so much else going on in the corner of the screen there. Yeah, and then we're back into the game. If you're eagle-eyed, you'll notice as well the inventory that used to pop on when you put your mouse at the top. I've set up an inventory button ready so you can toggle it on and off. And again, like, regret the things you do and then go, oh. I drew all this pipe work up here because I like these. I've mentioned this before, like the kind of foreground dark things that you get. This air conditioning unit is part of a puzzle. It ends up leaking onto the laminate, and it's up in the portion of the screen where the inventory trigger was, so you couldn't click on it because the inventory kept popping up in the way of it. So short of redrawing it lower or having the inventory at the bottom of the screen, which I don't really want, I want it at the top of the screen. I don't like inventories at the side of the screen. I'm going to set up a little graphic which is like just a box of stuff that you click to bring up your inventory. But then brings another problem, is that the inventory won't automatically toggle off between scenes. So then I'll need to write a custom action and an event to listen for a scene change action. And every time there's a scene change action, to close the inventory. So again, one decision that causes lots of knock-on effects that need sorting out. But I think it's nicer that you can go right the way up and look across the whole scene without triggering your inventory, and then you just got a button to bring it up. So yeah, I can't even see what that is. I'm running all the chat through StreamerBot, and it looks like you've put a ruler, Kyle. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I think it's an emoji that's gone wrong in my chat. And yeah, the other thing you might notice as well, I've got some icons now. They're just the default ones for like look at. Oh, melted face, right? No, it didn't turn up as a melted face in StreamerBot. But yes, melted face. Like, yes, these things I keep coming across. These little icons, like magnifying glass, there's like a little cog. They're the default ones, like cog. I'm gonna change those graphics, but I've started to get those ready to implement so that I can have like a door for going to doors, like the look at thing, the use thing. I'm just gonna bring a bit more graphics into the cursor. So I need to set them up. But that cutscene is feeling pretty good. I obviously need to get him animated to bend down and put the parcel down, but at least I can get through that bit of dialogue. And kind of move on the story like to that point. So choices, what shall we do? Shall I draw the outside of the shop, the car park? Maybe that's what I do. And then import that in, and then that all the graphics are kind of cleared for that section. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to frame 1. I've got an awful lot of layers in here now. Backdrop all folds into one. And I'm going to put it on a layer beneath all of that. and we're going to just call it outside. Outside. I'll put it in a group actually, because I'll end up using more than one layer. The other issue, I think, if I hide the sliding door, is this bit of path is in front of Justin's feet, so we need to get rid of that as well. And I think it's part of that new floor layer. Yeah, it is. So we want to delete that first of all, so that his toes aren't covered by that. I mean, you might not have noticed it, but it stuck out to me straight away. Only because I'd drawn this dark grey line to like represent the bit that the door would slide along. So actually, I'll just take off those pixels as well, just so that his feet are definitely on shore. And then outside of all of that, let's close the background backdrop layer up. Let's just give that a colour so I can. So outside, don't want to be drawing loads of stuff in perspective, but we should probably have a car park of some sort. Let's just block it out. I had thought about having like a delivery van that was visible, but again, it's all extra stuff. We've already got a lot of detail down this end, so I just need to not have a grey box basically. So if I'm trying to think, I don't want too much going on there. I'm just trying things out in my head. There would probably be a path in front of the shop, which would go out of view. I'll just join them up so I can flood fill it in a second. You might have some bollards and things. You'd then have your car parking area, and then in the distance, from kind of there-ish maybe, might have a little strip of grass or something. I just put some trees on it or some bushes. I just need to kind of cover some of this. So let's fill that. I'm just going to path that out. Got to be a Greg's. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm like. That's the feel of the place, that there would be like other shops opposite. But yeah, it's just they're going to be so small. I don't think we'll be able to get that feel across. I think what I'll do is let's just hide the backdrop for a second. I think we're going to have to just put like a curb. Oops. I think we're just going to kind of visually suggest some of the things that you would kind of expect. So car park tarmac's generally dark, so you might expect to see that. And although you don't tend to get paving so much these days, let's just check the perspective of that. Be a little bit flatter. The perspective in this room is really weird anyway. I purposely drew it with a bit of a curve to it. Originally I was going to do everything with really strange perspective, a bit like Sam and Max, but I haven't got the artistic skills and patience for that, I don't think. So there's our path. That looks a bit like a car park. think we need to maybe just bring a different colour in over there. We definitely can't have that being grey, that being dark. We're going to have to plonk some trees on it or something, so a new layer there. Just trying to give something in that background. Kind of need something behind it. Otherwise, we've just moved the problem higher up. All these lines on a separate layer so I can fade them back a bit. Actually, I'm going to just put double yellows. Everyone understands a yellow line. Oh, hello, Chris. Yeah, apologies. I was saying the same thing to Kyle. I think YouTube's stopped informing people notifications when live streams start. But once I'm done, I'll post it and then you can watch back the start of it. You can see me struggling through a silly decision from a long time ago, which was to put doors you could see through and doors that needed animating. So as I mentioned on YouTube in the community posts, it was like, oh, I'm gonna have to sort this out. It needed done, so it's getting done tonight. It just needs to be darker. That might be better. No, I prefer that. Let's just paint that in. Just stick a bit of noise in there. I'm still not sure what's going to happen in the background there, but I really don't want to be, as much as your suggestion, Kyle, of drawing a Greg's is a nice one. I can't bring myself to draw another whole shop in the background. There's just already too much going on at this end of the shop, I think. So let's just make a rough tree kind of outline. New layer under there, leaves block. Stuff is so far off in the distance, it is literally so that it just isn't grey behind him. I'm not too bothered about too much detail here. He says as he starts highlighting the tree branches. Yeah, no, I could have it as a separate blurred layer. Yeah, might see how that looks. So just as long as it doesn't like affect the, I guess the pixel arty style of it. Yeah, I'm already worried about how much detail there is out there just with that. I'm just going to make a bush, I think, maybe a parking sign or something that just finishes it off. It's just with that lines thing. Let's just pull a single pixel line across there. Just bring something else into the eye line. And then I'm just going to fade that layer down a bit, so it doesn't punch you in the face. And I might just, I have a cop out completely and just put darker. A bush around the back there. I'm literally just hammering down pixels here to just try and give something out there to put some dark pixels in amongst there. We need some slightly lighter ones just at the top of the bush. And then I think that blocks enough of the horizon that we can get away with kind of blue sky after that, I think. So pull that back there, sky. It looks positively beautiful. I'm just not keen on how thick that tree is. It's like taking up a lot of space. No, I think that looks all right. So we need to export a couple of things. I might try blurring it. The problem is some of it is right close to where Justin's going to be stood. So that might cause a problem and it just jarring a bit because it won't have pixels. But we'll see. Should it be blue? Should it just be grey? I mean, I still haven't. I'm currently saying I'm setting this in Stockton-on-Tees, which is just down the road from where I live. But I still haven't decided on where it's set. I might change that at the 11th hour. I was going to do it kind of Birmingham or something, or somewhere that had a very distinct accent, and then record some like dialogue in an accent to disguise my own accent, but I don't think I'm going to now. Right, that'll do. That will do. That's enough detail for that, I think. So we need to export this, the outside chunk. If I hide the backdrop, so it is just that little portrait-y bit there that we're exporting, that there. So it's just this frame we're going to do. I'm just going to go File, Export. I'll do a sprite sheet using my new method. So you can select just the layer, that group outside. If I go trim sprite, now what's it trimming that based on? Because that is less. I would have expected it to trim to the edge of those pixels. So source, sprite. No constraints. There's no. You can fix the width. So go trim. Nope. I don't know why it's deciding to trim it there. Because basically I don't want to export this massive PNG just with that little bit in the corner. There are some advantages to that actually, because then you don't have to line anything up. Let's just do that. It doesn't make the file size any bigger because it's just empty pixels, so it'll just be a bigger thing. So let's just put everything back as it was. We're going to do a sprite, just that, the selected frames, so just the one frame it's on. We're not going to trim it, we're going to export it into the shop floor room. So I'm just going to call that outside, save, export. Just save that airsprite file now I've done that work in it. The other thing, Chris, just for to bring you up to speed, I was complaining about, you'll see at the start of the live stream, this door basically. So, oh, here's a point. These here, these little icons that are meant to like make these continuous. My understanding of these is that then if you drag this out, no, you can have that, like, I've done it with some of the other layers, but I don't know if you have to put down another frame. So if I do, what would it be to create a new frame there? So duplicate cell is Control D. If I just take that cell, copy it, and then paste it at the end. Is that now? No, it's not. It's weird. I don't quite understand it. I would think that that would then have it on every frame. But if I, yeah, I'm going to paste it on every frame. That surely isn't what you have to do. I obviously don't understand how to use airsprite. That is evident from that. I think you need to link them. How do you do that? Link cells. Ah, right. Cool. Right. So we grab all of them, and then. Oh, right. You can only do it one layer at a time. That's a pain, isn't it? Link cells. All right. There's got to be a better way of doing that. Imagine if you've done 100 layers. I mean, this is just, it's kind of pointless. I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to go back. Yeah, it was just so I could play the animation of the door sliding with that background in, but we'll have it in Unity in a minute. But yeah, thanks for that, Chris. It does look like I need to just watch a tutorial of them. Surely you can select all of the frames and then pull them out. Let me do it to the group. Oh shit. Pull it up to there, right click, link cells. No. None the wiser. Merge the layers, link them, export, don't save. It'll be fine. I was just going to, so I could demonstrate the animation here in airsprite, but it's fine on a single layer. It's exported now as a single layer. So I just need to bring it into here. So it should be in my sprites office. It should be called outside. There it is, and it is the full site scale of it, which is fine. My import settings for a single sprite are up there. Apply that. So we've got this thing that's going to just drop into the set geometry. There it is. It's tiny, and that's because I made everything 4 times the size. Go back to live stream 1 for that one. So if I reset it, now it's inside the set geometry thing. That should now be the right size. It should be filling the frame. For some reason it's offset. I don't know why. Why would it be offset? Ah, because it's the sprite sort points in the center. So we don't want to do that. We want to go to the sprite editor. We want to set the pivot to the top left. So pivot. Oh yes, aspirate. The aspirate as opposed to airsprite. I mean, I've spelled airsprite wrong quite a few times, Kyle, but I've never called it aspirate. which is something totally different, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's impossible to spell a sprite. Yeah. Let's apply that. We've now got that in the top left. That isn't where I wanted it. What does it need to be set to? So why is that? Oh, did I offset the background at some point? I think I did, you know. Shop floor foreground, yes I did. I repositioned them, that's why. Put that 0.9. That should line up. Yep, it's obviously in the wrong order, but we're going to sort that in a second. So order in layer, let's pull that back. There we go, so it goes behind everything else. And then the other thing that we changed, actually, I've just thought about that. I took that bottom edge of the floor off, didn't I? And I haven't sorted that out. I haven't re-imported it, basically. Oh, and I needed to add, I'm glad I pressed play there, because I need to add the little button that he presses. There we go. Oh, it looks good with the background. Happy with that. Yeah, as you can see, his feet are getting covered by the door frame, so we just need to pull the door frame off, add that button that Clive presses. Right. Yeah, lovely. Right, sort that. Cheers, Chris. Thanks. Yeah, if you have a look back at this live stream afterwards, you can see me struggling with setting some of that up. I certainly talk about it loads at the start. The pains of drawing that with the shadows and everything else that needed to be done. So I need to go back to a sprite. I need to add that button in up there that he's going to press. Let's close that up. We should lock all of that so we don't move it at any point. So it's in the backdrop. It's this walls layer. And the new floor layer, I've cut the bit off that was blocking his feet. So if I just add this buzzer, just to the first frame of that buzzer. I mean, it can be super simple. It won't be, because it never is. But it doesn't need to be anything advanced. Let's just, before we draw it, let's see where his hand goes. I can always move this down a little bit, but I think it's at just the top area of the thing. So his fingers touch about there, I think. I'll just buzz you in. Yeah, so it's in a bit from there. I'll just line it up with that. So I'll just import it and set and forget this. And I haven't got enough pixels to make it perspective correct, I don't think. It'd look weird if it was like that. So it ain't going to be like that, basically. It's going to be a little square about yay big. We'll put a tiny bit of shading on it, a single line of shading. One little thing like that. And a little red button. That'll do us, I think. That looks about right. And then just for, we'll put a little shadow underneath it. That'll do. Looks all right like that, I think. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I like your face. It looks like a door opener. That'll do me. So I just need to export this layer out without the backdrop. So we need to turn off the foreground. Actually, let me just double check what's on this layer. So it is the foreground. It's not the foreground that we're changing. It is the shop floor background. So it's got the door with the hole in it because we've now replaced that door. It's got all the light in it. Yeah, and it had that bit of nasty floor. Don't forget the floor by the door. Yeah, I've deleted that. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, I've cut that bit off so it shouldn't be in front of his toes now. So I just need to hide the outside because we don't want that in the export. And we don't want the display rack, sample rack, middle rack. Doesn't really matter if the counter's there or not. What do they have? Counter's not there, but it doesn't particularly matter because the counter overlays it anyway, but I find it useful to turn them off if I'm not going to use them. Right, I think that's all correct. Let's export it. So file, export as shop floor background. No, it's because I exported it the other day, it's remembered what it was. So it's going in Remnant World Assets, My Sprites, Rooms, Shop Floor. That all seems correct. Selected frame, visible, yeah, whole canvas area, export. Always the, ooh, don't want to overwrite it. Yeah. There we go, there's our little buzzer. Let's run it again. Beautiful, his thumb even contacts it perfectly. Oh, I have noticed a problem though. It's annoying and I don't know how to fix it. So, eagle-eyed, when the animation plays, it's offset slightly. I can see a gap in the shadow. And I don't know for the life of me how to pause the playback when it's in a mechanim thing and then eyeball it in. I'm just going to have to do a little bit of trial and error, I think. So the sliding door, I can see that it's not quite in the right place. I mean, it looks like it's in the right place there, but it isn't. So all I can really do, I mean, this is perfectionism. You guys probably didn't even notice it, but there's something not right with where it's positioned. Because I saw a gap in this shadow when it played. So I've moved it a bit there, let's see. What I'm looking for is down here, I saw a gap and this shadow went across and left a gap of light. Yeah, you can see that gap of light. I mean, no one's really going to notice that, but I do. It's really annoying. So I'm not sure why it's not lining up. Let me see if I can pause it as it happens. Oh, I don't want to be in that mode. Maybe I'll get to it. Can't unsee it now. No, you're right. It's now I mentioned it. I shouldn't have mentioned it. Right, I paused it there. So yeah, it's just not quite in the right place. You can see it's off by like literally one line of pixels. It's off. But if I move it up any further, I've got a feeling it's going to be so. Oh, what the fuck happened there? No, I didn't want to do it like this. No, that was silly. two annoying things going on here. The anchor point's at the top left, and the bit I need to look at's at the bottom. So slide that back a bit. Oh, it's so close. Look at that. Look, there's still a tiny gap. So I'm going to go up a tiny bit, back a tiny bit, I shouldn't have even looked at it. So 0.333 or... Oh, hang on. Why is there no X transform? Let's just copy component, stop, paste, component values, run it again, see if it's fixed. Otherwise, that's it. I'm deleting the whole game. Had enough. Right, we're watching. We're watching. That'll do. That'll do. Sorted. Right. Right, so that cutscene is pretty much done. We just need to animate him bending down and putting that down. So that will, a chef's kiss indeed. That will be for another day, his bend animation to drop that parcel. But what I need to now fix is when that cutscene's all over, for your benefit, Chris, because I know you joined late here, the cutscene's much longer than that. It doesn't just open the door and shut the door on him again. There's a massive conversation, there's a massive dialogue tree and everything. I've just put this skip action in so we can jump to the end. So I was just testing out this big end, which should leave us in a position where we can interact with the parcel that he's left. So that's the bit I need to test next. And in order to do that, let's not go back through all of that again. Let's manipulate some of these out of the way. Drag that box. That's my skipper there. So that is skipping basically to this dialogue skip point there. What I'm going to do, actually no, let's just, it should be set up. Oh no, because I've skipped past the point where I was thinking, why is the parcel not there? And it's because the parcel doesn't get put down until midway in this conversation. It's there. Flyers box visible. So let's just make a copy of that. Let's, in this dialogue skip point, so that we don't accidentally screw this up, we'll make the flyer box visible. Because that's exactly the same action that happens in the big conversation. So if it works like this, it will work in the big conversation. It comes over, he buzzes him in, door opens, we have a massive bit of dialogue. The box gets left there. And the box of flyers is clickable, but I think the problem is, oh no, it looks all right. You can walk around it. Bit weird. He's got his shadow going through it, but box of flyers, the new market material for head office. Sounds like they're trying desperately to boost our laminate sales. Tyler can sort those when he finally turns up. Besides, with Justine's hygiene standards, I don't really want to touch them. There's a whole conversation about Justin having a bad kebab the night before and travelling around in his delivery van with a spare pair of pants and a plastic bag. So that is why Clive doesn't want to touch the box. and it gets left for Tyler later on. Okay, so one other thing I think I want to get sorted. What time is it now? 10 o'clock. Yeah, I have to finish shortly. What was it? There was something else. Oh, that was it. Yeah, so this inventory button, I was going to replace that as well. I was going to draw a new thing. So I mentioned it earlier on the stream. I've had to remove the, I've had to remove the automatic mouse over of the inventory, it popping up, because there's a puzzle later with this dripping aircon unit, and it's just too far up the screen. So we've now got an inventory button that I'm going to have to write some code to make sure it turns off when you move rooms. But I'm just going to create a little graphic for that and swap that out. Bit of UI work. I did what I was talking about on the last live stream. I now have a second version of this shop floor called Act 2, where we've not got the Hoover and things. We've got the weird fish guy that we were setting up the other day. So when I start this scene, it starts in a different mode. It's got the animation of this thing dripping. So there's like the aircon's dripping all over the laminate. Ty Robbie stood here with a wet floor sign. We haven't obviously imported, this is one of the things. It's using the same background plate, but it's I've added in that scene from the other scene. So let's do that. Actually, let's fix that before I forget, because the door is going to open during this as well. So something I want to try out actually. Back from my Unity coding days, you could open 2 scenes at the same time. Yeah, that's a nice line as well. Who is the biggest strip? This shop floor scene 1, that I've just put that background and things, you can open the scene additively. It's going to make everything look a bit weird over here, but it means you can open both scenes at the same time. And then in the set geometry thing, all that stuff I've just done with the sliding door and outside, I should just be able to copy them out of that scene. Copy. And I should be able to paste them into this scene. Do I need to do paste special? Paste as child. Keep local, no, just do a paste. Drag them into there. I haven't touched anything else. Oh shit, don't click play. Because now I've got 2 scenes open at the same time, which is why it's super bright. There's 2 lots of lighting in it. So what I should do is that you can just go unload scene, don't save. It's not loaded, it's still sat there while I test this out. So yeah, it's additive scene loading, and it's like not a lot of people know it exists, and we used to use it for having scenes preloaded for VR stuff we used to do at work. So you didn't have to wait for them to load. We load them both at the same time and then just flick them on and off, unload and reload them, so you don't have to wait for something else to load additively. But yeah, you can see that's fixed it. I've got my things in. I didn't have to set them up, reposition them all. Yeah, just copy and paste from one scene to another. And it's something I'm going to come up with a few times now. I've made this Act 2 version of the same scene. It's just, I've kind of made a rock for my own back there, but I think it's worthwhile because there's a lot going on in that scene now. Yes, so it is 4 minutes to 10. Let's see if I can make... you see what happened there as well? I've walked back into this room and it's triggered the Act 1 version of it because the variables aren't set up and I'm in testing mode at the moment. So last thing, last 5 minutes, I will make this icon. I'm going to unload that, remove that scene so it's not in the way. Save this one, doesn't really matter which one I'm in for this. Let's go back to a sprite. We want just a little icon. Save that. I wonder actually what I've already got in sprite items. These are all the separate items. I don't think I've drawn any UI actually for it yet. So let's just, what's in this? A rubber chicken. Has it got a pulley in the middle? It has. It's a rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle. Let's put it in the MISC folder. No, actually, I want to create a UI folder because I'm going to make some new icons mentioned earlier on as well. So UI, let's create a new, so file, new. It's not going to be that big, is it? Like, it's probably 64 by 64 or something like that. 64 by 64. That's probably too big actually. Just do 32 by 32. I don't want it to have too much detail. Although, if I did a Tesco value bag, which is a really nice idea, you'd want enough to. I wonder if that's a good idea. I was just going to do a box with stuff written on it. It kind of suits the whole, there's boxes everywhere in this thing. So I'm just going to call that UI icons. And I'll end up with a few different frames of these, I think. But inventory. Let's just draw a basic box. You know, I've got so many other boxes that I've drawn in this. I probably could just nick one out of that. But let's just do something with its this kind of thing is recognizable as a box-ish. Straighten up a couple of these edges. I'll put a little bit of shading on it. Maybe it doesn't want to be straight actually. Maybe it just wants to be angled, like the lid's back. Over a bit. Can't draw and talk at the same time. So that's the basics of it. As usual, I've drawn the outlines because it's just the way I prefer to draw, and then I'm going to end up going to change all the colours. So that's going to be our light hitting that one. So that would be a similar colour, which is going to make this our darker side, and then the internal even darker, and the back one somewhere between these two. So we want to just something different for now, maybe darker. Right, and then let's just get rid of some of these lines and see how it starts to look. So that would be that colour, that would be that colour. If it didn't have an edge on it, would be that colour. I want it to be fairly simple. It's a UI element really. It doesn't want to be too detailed. But I think we probably need just a bit of something there. Kind of thing. And I have no idea if I'm going to be able to write the word stuff. What I should have done really is started with the writing and made sure I had enough pixels to write stuff on it. It does look like an Amazon Prime box, yeah. I mean, I haven't got the space to write stuff. already messed this up. With 1F, we might be able to write stuff. Stuff. Might have to stay like that for now. Right, let's just put it in like that. I might alter that later. We'll see. Just put a tiny bit of highlight on the edge of that. Just to make that edge stand out a little bit. And we'll do the same along here. Oops, like that we want. Okay, that looks all right. Maybe a little shadow underneath it. Just in case it's on it over an item in the game that is going to clash with it. Bit of a shadow. And then just pull that shadow opacity back so the opacity comes out with it when I export it. So just do File, Export As. We want the whole thing, whole canvas forward. I'm going to my sprite directory, create new folder, UI, drop it into there, and let's just call it inventory icon. Save, export, get over to Unity. We're going to the menu. First of all, find it. So it's going to be in my sprites, new UI folder, inventory icon, set its settings to a single item, like that. And so I've created this inventory button UI at the moment. If I put it in game mode, you'll see it up there. Nothing special. It says inv with a background. So this toggle inventory button, we don't want any text on it, but we need to put a background texture. I think that's how we're going to do it. Oh, actually, I don't think it can be a sprite 2D. It's got to be a texture 2D. So yeah, well, this will be interesting. And by interesting, I mean really annoying. So this is going to have to be a default texture. And got a feeling what we're going to have is an issue here. So texture type. Let me just set that back again. I preempted there being a problem without actually checking if there was. But if you go background texture and I search for inventory icon, yeah, you can use it. Yeah, there it is, look. The highlight texture. I mean, actually, what we could do is we could have that flap closed, and then when you hover over it, the flap opens. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Let's do that. Let's just quickly do that. So what we want is a second frame. So all of them, shift, is it shift? I can't remember what new frame is. New frame, Alt and N. Alt and N. So we're just going to delete off that, turn off onion skin. Did I put the highlight on the other? No, of course I did. Wouldn't ever make it easy for myself, would I? So, what is actually on that top layer? Just the stuff right in there. And I'll put the highlights on there as well, didn't I? Egypt. So let's just, on top of there, kind of have same colour as that. We'll just have it over there so it feels like it's closed but with the lid slightly open. It's going to make it darker inside, so let's just create a new layer there. It's going to be causing a shadow because the lid's closed, so I'm just going to make all of that dark. And then I'm going to pull that back. So it's like a little closed lid. So then we'll have closed lid, open lid, closed lid, open lid. So that'll be our two states. So export that one. Inventory icon. Closed. Export. Ah, shit. Click the wrong thing. Cancel. File. Export. And as selected frame. Icon closed. Export. So what we should be able to do, set that one to exactly the same settings. Reset. Apply. And then in the other one, search for inventory icon open, and that one wants to be inventory icon closed, I think. Let's have a look. Let's try it out. I need to get the size and positioning and things sorted out, but let's see how it looks. There we go. Oh, I've got something. I mean, it kind of works, but there is some other weirdness going on. What I've done there. Let's have a look. I exported it with something else showing. Quite know what's wrong there. Something weird there. Oh, it's got an overlay. So what's happening is, I don't know, you probably can't see that from there. It's so small. I can't actually scroll up to show you. The second sprite, when you mouse over, is actually overlaying on top of the first sprite. So you can see the back of the first sprite opening, which is weird. So what's actually happening in effect is that this button, the background texture stays on all the time and the highlight texture sits on top of it. So because it's peeping out from behind it, you can see another bit of cardboard. I'll sort it out. I'll maybe have to draw it so it doesn't look like that. But we can do that at a later date. So the last thing to do is I'll maybe make it just a touch bigger, which isn't that. It is this button. Yeah, it is annoying that. This toggle inventory button. Yeah, manual sizing. If I did automatic, it ends up being tiny. I mean, to be honest, what I probably should have done is set this up as a graphic and then add a hidden button. Right, I'll work that out next time. I'll make this cleaner next time, because I really don't like manually sizing something. As you can see, it's getting stretched out of proportion and things if I do it 5/8. Yeah, you can see there when I zoom in, like it'd be difficult to see on the stream. You see in the back one behind it. So that little bit that's sticking out was annoying me, because it's actually the box from behind in its closed mode. Yeah, I mean, the simple thing would have been to actually have it closed, but yeah, well, I'll work it out. I might have to make it bigger anyway, so it actually says stuff. But hopefully that shows you some like little tips towards that. Right, the very last tip of the stream is something that has become incredibly important to me. Is backing your stuff up, basically. I mentioned it, I think, on the stream. I had a hard disk failure a couple of weeks ago, and you vote for the Tesco value bag. I do like that idea. Tesco value bag. I mean, we could think of something else to call it. It didn't say Tesco on it. But yeah, everyone recognises that colour in the UK as well, the blue and white stripes. Well, white bag, blue stripes, red writing. It might just say stuff instead of Tesco. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. But yeah, the last thing I was going to say, well, something I'm really rubbish at. If you're watching this for the first time, because there is usually about 50 odd people who end up watching these afterwards, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and all of that good stuff, because it is really, really helpful. But my final tip of the day is to sort out some kind of backup system. So I have started using Git and all of this, so all of the stuff that's in Airsprite, so all of these Airsprite files, everything I've worked on is being backed up by Git. The importance of that is no more felt when I had a hard drive fail a couple of weeks ago, and it turned out, I think, to be a cable issue, because I panicked, bought a new hard disk, converted loads of moved loads of stuff, because the hard disk went off while I was editing a video for the YouTube channel, and I was like, it was getting all weird, it was doing weird things, and then it just suddenly, the drive disappeared, and I like panicked. The upshot of that was bought a new hard disk, and then was like, right, I need to start using Git and backing something up to Git. So yeah, in answer to your question, Kyle, I followed a YouTube tutorial for what to Git ignore in Unity, and that is now set up. So can't recommend it enough. When I finish this stream, I can then just write a single comment saying live stream 16, and then just write a little description of what I've done, sliding door, things like that, and then just hit the push button and make sure that it's all gone back up to a private Git server, because yeah, it would be soul destroying to lose the amount of time and effort and work that's going into this. So I heartily recommend it to everybody else. I have lost stuff in the past, thankfully not absolutely loads, but it would be a real pain to lose this amount of stuff. So yeah, my usual thing is that when I finish on this stream, I basically bring up Git, and then it tells me everything that is has changed since last time. Got a load of 22 different things to commit. All the things that I've worked on, you can see, like the item closed PNG that we were just working on, the animation for the sliding door. You can see everything that we've worked on in that one session, and it really is as simple as I just type a summary, a bit of a description. I spend 30 seconds doing that, and then just commit and click fetch, and it's done. So I'll see if I can find the video tutorial. There's loads of them on YouTube. Just search for Git for Unity, and there is just a couple of as Kyle said, ignore things, so it just ignores some of the files that would get constantly screwed up if because Unity's doing a lot of writing to little meta files in the background and things. But yeah, well worthwhile, and I end up dumping all of my Sprite development files and things like that into the same folder that my Unity project's in, so that it's just getting everything pushed up just in case. The only thing I'm not Git pushing is all of the After Effects files and things of the videos, because they're just huge, and yeah, they'll take quite a while to upload. So that, I think, is it. The hope is next weekend. I might do Sunday. It's starting to work better for me, honestly, on Monday evenings, but that might change. But yeah, I'll always try and stick out a post on the channel that gives at least a quarter of an hour warning that I'll be coming online to continue this stuff. After this, I will try and republish it so that the regulars, Chris and Kyle, can watch back the first bits that they missed. But thanks again, guys, for being on the live stream. It's really good fun having people around whilst I'm working on the stuff, and all the suggestions, as always, have been brilliant. Yeah, so hopefully I will see you in a week's time, and yeah, enjoy the other stuff on the channel. I'll put out another tutorial video on the channel, so if you haven't seen that, have a little look at that too. Thank you very much. Cheers. See you soon. Bye.